We were looking at our lessons learned database at the center, and we also at the same time were realizing that a lot of our senior people were nearing retirement, and some of them had actually already retired. And so what we wanted to do was gather those folks together to get the nuggets, the things that they'd learned over the years, because many of them were program managers and project managers, and they had a lot of corporate knowledge that was about to leave the door. In some cases, they'd already retired. So we wanted to get those folks together and get their learned information down, get it documented so that younger folks coming in and newer people working on our present-day projects could learn from those. It's very important to pass on lessons that are learned, because there's not enough time to repeat all the mistakes again, and it's very expensive, and sometimes it can be very dangerous and harmful to repeat lessons that have already been learned. So what we did is we gathered all those folks together, about a 3-day symposium, and we had them on several different topics to document the things that they recall that helped them out through their careers, and those became lessons learned. One of those was requirements. Several of those project managers talked about the importance of requirements, the importance of documented requirements, the importance of making sure that there was a structured and organized approach to documenting and writing down those requirements. Requirements definition is confused by a lot of people. A lot of times you'll see a project start and the guys will show up with their design solution. On the very first day of the project, they'll show up with their thing and say, here we are and here's what we're going to go build. That is so wrong, it's not funny. Requirements definition means you start with what are the basic requirements. What is it that you need to do? Requirements drive your design solution, not vice versa. So it's very important to teach young engineers not to rush to the design solution phase, which they all so much want to do, but to work on the requirements development. If you don't document the requirements clearly, you can go off and eventually come up with a design solution that meets some of the requirements, but it might not meet them all. In fact, it may not meet the very main requirements that you had to begin with. One of the real important reasons for having clearly defined program and project objectives is to make sure that the program or project stays focused. Without objectives, you can amble about, and it's hard to measure success. It's hard to measure when you're there or when you're done. If you don't have a goal or an objective, then anything will do. And if you don't know what that goal is or where it is, you don't know how to get there. It's important when you're writing requirements that they have a band. Some people call them a figure of merit, but you have a band for what's good enough. It's one thing to say that the device needs to be able to go 100 feet per second, but it's another thing to say it needs to go at least 100 feet per second. It's also important for the design solution because it may mean a tremendous difference in cost. One design solution may be able to go 90 feet per second at a much reduced cost, whereas that 100 feet per second may not be such a hard requirement, and you can live with 90 feet per second. So it's important to put bounds around these requirements, not to just state them in absolute terms, but to put a boundary around them. With OSP, we had several different objectives, and several different contractors were allowed to bring forward their idea or plan. And without any clear objective for one, several were out there, and it ultimately led to the end of the program because they weren't focused, and they didn't focus in a timely enough fashion, and their interest was lost.